Imagine waking up and your mind is already loud before your feet touch the floor. It's like stepping onto a battlefield, except the enemies are invisible. They're called what if, not enough, and what's next. They don't attack with swords, but with whispers that drain your strength and steal your peace. And here's the truth. Worry never protected anyone. It doesn't shield you from what's coming. It paralyzes you, keeps you stuck, and robs you of the joy you could be living right now. I've met people who have spent years planning for every possible disaster, only to realize they'd been living inside disasters that never happened. Maybe you felt that too. Lying awake, replaying conversations, imagining the worst outcomes. Science tells us our brains evolved to detect danger, but in modern life, it often misfires. The threat isn't a wild animal, it's an unpaid bill, a phone call we're afraid to make, or the uncertainty of tomorrow. And yet our body reacts as if our life is on the line. Buddhist wisdom offers a different path, not through force or pretending nothing bothers you, but through understanding how your mind works and learning to let go of the grip it has on you. You can't control every twist in the road, but you can choose how you walk it. It's about returning to the present moment, not once, but again and again, until peace isn't just something you chase, it's something you live. Picture this. Instead of standing in the middle of that battlefield fighting every thought, you step aside. You watch them pass by, like clouds moving across a wide blue sky. You don't need to wrestle them. You don't need to believe them. You just let them drift. And in that quiet space, you begin to see that life is still here, still offering you small, steady moments of beauty. That's where we begin this journey, because the real enemy isn't the future you fear, it's the present you abandon. And today we're taking it back. We're now stepping into the first core lesson in today's video. When worry steals your peace twice. It's a truth most of us don't realize until we look back and see how many hours, days, even years we've lost to fear that never came true. Worry is a quiet thief. It doesn't always arrive with drama or noise. Sometimes it slips in silently when you're alone, planting what-if stories in your mind. And without noticing, you start living inside them. The first theft happens before anything has even taken place. Your mind paints worst-case scenarios in full color. You start thinking, what if I fail? What if they leave me? What if I lose everything? These aren't just words, they create a physical reaction. Your heart beats faster, your breathing turns shallow, sleep slips away. And yet, nothing has actually happened. It's all in your imagination, but your body can't tell the difference. Buddhist wisdom explains that most of our suffering doesn't come from reality. It comes from the stories we tell ourselves about reality. We suffer long before life ever asks us to. We rehearse heartbreak that may never arrive. We pre-live loss before it touches us. We create storms in our mind and then stand out in the rain, wondering why we feel so cold. The second theft is even worse. When life does bring challenges, and it always will, you arrive at that moment already exhausted. You've already lived through it 100 times in your head, and now you must face it in real life, with less strength and less clarity. Worry has robbed you twice, first in your imagination and then in reality. I remember speaking with a woman in her late 60s who told me she spent decades worrying about losing her job. She never actually lost it. But when retirement came, she realized she had missed so many moments. Birthdays, sunsets, quiet dinners, because her mind was somewhere else, defending against an enemy that never attacked. She said something I'll never forget. I gave away my best years to shadows. So what's the way out? The first step is awareness, catching worry in the act. The next time anxiety creeps in, pause. Ask yourself gently, am I truly in danger right now? Or is this just a story my mind is telling me? Is this happening in this moment, or is it happening only in my imagination? These simple questions create space, and in that space, you can take a deep breath. You can notice the chair you're sitting in, the air moving in and out of your lungs, the fact that right now in this second, you are safe. From that place, you can choose differently. You can choose not to follow every thought your mind throws at you. You can choose peace, not by ignoring your problems, but by refusing to live through them twice. This doesn't mean you'll never worry again. It means you'll catch it sooner, loosen its grip, and stop letting it control your life. Worry's power comes from its invisibility. But once you see it, once you can name it, it loses some of that power. You begin to notice that thoughts are just thoughts, not facts. You are not your worry. You are the one noticing it. And that shift, however small it feels, is the beginning of real freedom. So as we move forward in this journey together, remember this. Life will always bring challenges, but you don't have to pay for them twice. Protect your peace. Save your energy for what's real. And when your mind tries to sell you a scary story, pause and choose not to buy it. That's how we begin to take our life back, one thought at a time. And so, as we close the door on part one, we begin to see something clearly. Worry doesn't just take from us. It often starts with the belief that if we could just manage everything perfectly, nothing would go wrong. That thought alone is exhausting, and it leads us into the next lesson in today's journey. Finding peace and letting go of control. One of the biggest roots of anxiety is our deep, unshakable urge to control everything and everyone around us. We want the weather to be sunny for our plans. We want people to treat us the way we think they should. We want the past to have been kinder, in the future to arrive exactly as we've imagined. But the truth is, no matter how much we wish, we can't control the weather. We can't rewrite yesterday. And we can't guarantee what tomorrow will bring. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that peace doesn't come from tightening our grip. It comes from loosening it. It comes from acceptance. Imagine life as a river. If you fight against the current, you tire yourself out, gasping for air, wondering why it feels so hard. But if you let go and trust the water to carry you, something beautiful happens. You begin to float. I've met people who spent decades swimming upstream, trying to change people, to rewrite the past, to predict every twist of the future. They end up worn out, frustrated, and wondering why peace feels so far away. Yet the moment they stopped fighting what they couldn't control, their energy returned. They began to notice things they'd been missing: the laughter in a room, the beauty in a simple meal, the comfort of their own breath. Acceptance isn't the same as giving up. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop wasting your strength on battles you can't win. It's a choice to respond to life with peace rather than react to it with panic. The next time you feel that desperate need to fix everything, pause and remind yourself, I don't need to repair the whole world. I only need to meet this moment with calm. This is more than a nice idea. It's a practice. Some days acceptance will feel easy. Other days it will feel impossible. But each time you release that grip, you make space for clarity. You create room for joy to enter. And you prove to yourself that you can stand in the middle of uncertainty without falling apart. In the end, letting go of control isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's knowing that the river of life will keep flowing, with or without your permission, and that you have the choice to fight it or to float with it. And sometimes floating is exactly how you find your way home. Before we move on, let's pause for a moment. In the last section, we explored how letting go of control can lift a heavy weight off your heart. But even when we stop trying to control life itself, there's another quiet chain that still binds us: our need for others to approve of who we are. And that leads us into the next part of our journey: the freedom of not needing everyone's approval. One of the deepest forms of exhaustion doesn't come from the work we do or the challenges life throws our way. It comes from living according to other people's expectations. Day after day, we try to say the right things, make the right choices, and present ourselves in a way that will keep everyone happy. But here's the truth. No matter how perfectly you shape yourself, someone will still disapprove. Buddhism sees this as one of the ego's greatest traps. The ego whispers, if they like you, you are worthy. If they approve of you, you are safe. And so we begin to shapeshift depending on who we're with. Around one person, we're lighthearted and agreeable. Around another, we're cautious and guarded. We edit our thoughts before speaking, hide our true feelings, and sometimes silence our own needs just to avoid disappointing someone. There's a story from the Buddha's life that speaks directly to this. A man once came to him and said, no matter what I do, some people speak well of me, and others speak ill. The Buddha replied, there will always be those who praise you and those who blame you. If you live for the praise, you will die by the blame. These words are as true now as they were 2,500 years ago. If your happiness depends on how others see you, your peace will always belong to them. The day you decide to live in alignment with your own truth is the day you start to breathe freely. This doesn't mean becoming careless or unkind. It means asking yourself a different question. Does this choice align with who I am? Does it bring me peace? When the answer is yes, you move forward, even if others don't understand. I once met a man in his 70s who had spent most of his life trying to please his family, his coworkers, his neighbors, even strangers. He told me, "I thought if I kept everyone happy, I'd finally feel at peace. But I just felt empty." It wasn't until he began saying no to things that drained him and yes to what mattered most that he discovered a deeper sense of happiness. Some people walked away, he said, but the ones who stayed loved me for who I really was. When you stop living for approval, something incredible happens. You stop abandoning yourself. You begin to trust your own voice more than the noise around you. You stop rehearsing every conversation in your head to make sure it sounds right, and instead you speak gently but honestly. Of course, some people won't understand this change. They might see your boundaries as rejection. They might accuse you of being selfish. But here's the truth. Protecting your peace is not selfish. It's the foundation that allows you to show up fully for the people who matter most. If you've been living under the weight of constant approval seeking, try this small practice. Before making a decision, close your eyes, take a slow breath, and ask yourself, if no one else had an opinion, what would I choose? That one question can strip away layers of fear and bring you closer to the life you were meant to live. In the end, you will lose some people when you stop performing for them, but you will keep the ones who truly belong in your life. And most importantly, you will keep yourself. That's the quiet, unshakable freedom that comes when you no longer need everyone to understand, agree with, or approve of you. Coming out of our last reflection on living authentically, there's another quiet pressure many of us carry, one that doesn't always come from others, but from within. It's the belief that we must always get everything right, say the perfect words, make flawless choices, and present ourselves without a single crack. And that's where we step into the next chapter of our journey. Letting go of perfection to live fully present. Perfection sounds noble on the surface. We tell ourselves it's about high standards, doing our best, or not settling for less. But in reality, the constant pressure to be perfect often does the opposite. It fuels anxiety, feeds self-criticism, and delays joy until some imagined better moment. You don't allow yourself to rest until the list is finished. You hold back from trying something new because you might get it wrong. And without realizing it, you keep pushing happiness further into the future, waiting for the day when everything is finally just right. Buddhist wisdom offers a very different goal. The aim is not perfection, it's presence. The Buddha never promised a flawless life. Instead, he taught that true peace comes from meeting life as it is, messy, unpredictable, and beautifully imperfect. When you accept that mistakes are not proof of failure, but invitations to grow, you open the door to a gentler, kinder way of living. There's a beautiful concept in Buddhism called beginner's mind. It's about showing up to each moment with openness and curiosity, like someone seeing it for the very first time. A beginner isn't obsessed with getting it all right. They're focused on learning, experiencing, and being part of the process. Imagine approaching your own life that way, not as a performance to perfect, but as an adventure to explore. I once spoke to a retired teacher who confessed she almost didn't apply for her dream job decades ago because she felt she wasn't ready enough. "I thought I needed another degree, more experience, a perfect resume," she said. "But when I finally applied, I realized I already had what mattered most, the willingness to learn and the heart to serve." That job ended up shaping her entire career. She smiled and said, "Perfection would have made me wait forever. Presence let me begin." Letting go of perfection doesn't mean lowering your standards or being careless. It means removing the weapon you've been holding against yourself. It means understanding that worthiness is not earned through flawlessness. It's something you already carry within you, right now in this breath. So here's a simple practice you can try. Sit quietly, place your hand on your heart, close your eyes and breathe slowly. Then say gently to yourself, "I release the need to be perfect. I am worthy of peace exactly as I am. Let those words sink into the spaces where judgment used to live. This isn't a one-time fix. It's a daily choice. A soft reminder that you're allowed to be human. In the end, life is not asking for your perfection. It's asking for your presence. And when you show up as you are, without the constant weight of trying to be flawless, you make room for deeper connection, genuine joy, and a peace that isn't postponed for someday. That's the quiet beauty of letting go. It's not about becoming less. It's about finally becoming free. As we've been peeling back the layers of worry, perfection, and approval seeking, there's another weight we often carry, one so subtle that it can shape our choices without us realizing it. It's the constant, quiet desire for people to truly get us, to see our intentions clearly, to agree with our perspective. Which brings us to the next part of our journey, the peace in releasing the need to be fully understood. It's a natural human longing, to want others to see your heart, to know that you meant well, to feel that your silence or your decisions won't be misunderstood. But here's the reality. We can't control how people interpret us. Everyone you meet is seeing you through the lens of their own history, pain, expectations, and beliefs. Sometimes even the clearest words get bent by the filter they pass through. Buddhist wisdom reminds us that even the Buddha himself, a being of deep compassion and clarity, was misunderstood, judged, and misrepresented. If such a pure example of truth couldn't escape it, why do we expect ourselves to? The truth is, people will sometimes misread your intentions, no matter how carefully you explain them. And the more you fight to be perfectly understood, the more exhausted and resentful you may become. I once knew a woman who spent hours after every family gathering replaying what she had said, worrying if someone took it the wrong way. She would send follow-up messages, offer extra explanations, or apologize for things that no one else even noticed. Over time, she realized she wasn't just explaining her words, she was explaining her existence. And in doing so, she was handing over her peace to other people's interpretations. Freedom comes when you begin to accept this simple truth. You are not responsible for how others choose to see you. You are responsible for your own clarity, your own kindness, and your own integrity. Before you speak or act, ask yourself, was my heart honest? Was my intention clear? Did I choose my words with care? If the answer is yes, then you've already done your part. The rest is beyond your control. Here's a practice you can try. When you feel the urge to over-explain, pause. Rest your hand on your chest, take a slow breath, and silently say, I release the need to be understood. I return to my truth. My peace does not depend on approval. This gentle reminder can become an anchor, bringing you back to yourself when your mind starts chasing the impossible task of perfect understanding. When you let go of the need to be fully understood, you create space. Space to live authentically, to speak more simply, to act without fear of constant misinterpretation. And in that space, you may find that the people who truly matter already understand more than you think. In the end, life isn't about convincing everyone of your truth. It's about living it. And the more you stay rooted in your own clarity, the less power other people's opinions will have over you. That's the quiet, steady peace that comes when you stop needing every eye to see you exactly as you are. After exploring how letting go of the need for others' approval can free your heart, we now step into another doorway to peace, one that begins not in the mind, but in the body. This next part, flow into calm. How gentle movement frees your mind will show you how simple motions, steady breaths, and the rhythm of your steps can quietly untangle the knots of worry you've been carrying. Anxiety doesn't just stay in your head, it moves into your shoulders, your jaw, your back. It shortens your breath, stiffens your muscles, and makes even rest feel like work. This is why, in Buddhist practice, mindful movement is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Walking meditation, stretching with awareness, or simply breathing deeply while in motion can shift your entire state of being. The beauty is, you don't need a gym, a special routine, or even much time. You can begin in your living room, your backyard, or while walking slowly down a quiet street. The goal isn't to burn calories, it's to bring your wandering mind back into the safety and simplicity of the present moment. I once spoke to a man in his late 60s who spent years trapped in overthinking. Every night, he lay in bed, replaying old conversations or worrying about the future. His turning point came when he began walking in his garden at dusk. No phone, no music, just the sound of his feet on gravel and the feel of evening air. It was like my thoughts finally learned how to breathe, he told me. Nature has a way of lending us its calm. When you walk beneath trees or by water, your body starts to sync with its rhythm. You loosen the mental grip without even trying. The mind stops racing, not because you force it, but because your body is leading it somewhere quieter. Here's something you can try. Stand up right now. Place your hand over your heart. Take one slow, deep breath. Then let your body move, not to reach a goal, but to release what's stuck. Roll your shoulders. Stretch your arms toward the sky. Walk without hurry. Let each step be a reminder. You don't have to carry it all in your head. Movement in this way is more than physical relief. It's emotional release. It's the body's way of telling the mind, you're safe now. Step by step, breath by breath, you'll find that calm isn't always something you think your way into. Sometimes you can walk into it. We've seen how movement can free your mind and create space for peace. Now we turn to a truth that is deceptively simple, yet life-changing when truly lived. One day at a time, the art of mindful living. So much of our stress doesn't come from what's happening right now. It comes from the mental tug of war between the past and the future. Part of your mind is clinging to what's already gone, replaying mistakes, reliving regrets. The other part is racing ahead, trying to plan, predict, and control a tomorrow that hasn't yet arrived. And in that push and pull, the present moment, the only place where life actually happens, gets lost. Buddhist wisdom is clear on this. Peace can only be found here, now. The past is a memory. The future is an idea. Neither can give you the safety and stillness your mind craves. Only the present can do that. And the best part? You don't have to solve your entire life today. You just have to live this day well. Imagine your life as a garden. If you spend all your time worrying whether the flowers will bloom next season, you'll miss the beauty of watering them today. If you keep digging up the soil to check the roots, you'll disturb the very growth you hope for. But if you simply tend to the plants, pull the weeds, give them sunlight, water them with care, nature will take care of the rest. I once knew a widower in his 70s who told me he used to wake up overwhelmed, thinking of everything that could go wrong in the weeks and months ahead. It was like trying to carry the whole calendar on my back, he said. His shift came when he began asking himself each morning, what's one small thing I can do today to support my peace? Sometimes it was calling a friend, sometimes walking in the park, sometimes just making a good breakfast. Over time, his mind began to relax. He realized tomorrow always arrives, but it's shaped by how you live today. The practice of moment-to-moment mindfulness is like this. It's not about ignoring the past or pretending the future doesn't matter. It's about giving today your full attention. When you wash the dishes, you just wash the dishes. When you talk to a friend, you truly listen. When you walk, you feel the ground beneath your feet instead of rushing toward the next task. Here's something you can try. The next time you feel weighed down by everything you think you must do or fix, pause. Take 3 slow breaths. Ask yourself, what's one step I can take right now that brings me peace? Then do just that. No more, no less. It might feel small, but small moments are what life is made of. In the end, mindful living isn't about having the perfect plan. It's about trusting that each day, lived well, naturally leads you where you need to be. You don't have to climb the whole mountain today. Just take the next step with presence, and the path will unfold beneath your feet. That's how peace is built, one mindful day at a time. Some lessons in life feel like they arrive quietly, yet they transform everything. Gratitude is one of them. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand. It simply invites us to see what's already here, and in doing so, it quietly disarms our worry. Now let's walk into a practice that not only quiets anxiety, but also reshapes the way your mind sees the world. Gratitude as a daily shield against worry. Here's the thing. Worry thrives in the absence of appreciation. When our minds are locked on what's missing, what could go wrong, or what we don't yet have, anxiety finds fertile soil to grow. Gratitude changes the terrain. It shifts your attention from the scarcity of not enough to the abundance of already here. It doesn't ignore life's challenges, but it anchors you in the truth that blessings still exist, even in hard seasons. Buddhist thought often reminds us, you cannot hold gratitude and fear in the same breath. The moment you truly feel thankful for something, worry loses its voice. It's not magic. It's the brain's wiring. Neuroscience confirms that when we consciously practice gratitude, the brain releases dopamine and serotonin, chemicals that lift mood and promote calm. In other words, gratitude is both a spiritual and biological gift. I remember speaking with a woman who, after her husband passed away, found herself swallowed by what-ifs about the future. A friend suggested she write down 3 things she was grateful for every evening. At first, it felt silly. She could only name small things: the warmth of her tea, the sound of her neighbor's laughter, the quiet of early morning. But within weeks, her list grew richer, and her fear began to fade. She told me, it was like my mind learned to see light again, even when the room wasn't fully bright. The practice is simple. Each day, write or speak 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be grand. Sometimes the tiniest blessings carry the most weight. Maybe it's the comfort of your favorite chair, a kind text from a friend, or a sunset that surprised you. By naming them, you train your mind to search for what's good instead of scanning for threats. Over time, this habit changes your mental lens. Your mind becomes less reactive to fear because it's preoccupied with appreciation. And just like a muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it grows. Gratitude doesn't mean life is perfect. It means you stop letting imperfection steal your peace. So tonight, before you close your eyes, pause. Think of 3 things, however small, that warmed your heart today. Let that be the last thought you take to sleep. Because in the quiet space between worry and rest, gratitude can stand watch, guarding your peace until morning. Some truths only arrive when we are quiet enough to hear them. And one of the most valuable is this: you cannot offer genuine peace or love to others if you are still fighting a silent battle within yourself. Compassion starts within. How self-kindness calms the mind is a reminder to turn the gentleness you so freely give to others back toward your own heart. This is also the final lesson in our journey, the one that closes the loop on worry and opens the door to true inner peace. In Buddhist teaching, compassion isn't just a feeling, it's a practice. And that practice begins at home, inside your own mind. If your inner voice is constantly criticizing, pushing, or judging you, it's like trying to fill someone else's cup while your own is running dry. Self-compassion refills that cup. Think about the way you speak to a close friend who's struggling. You'd likely encourage them, remind them of their strengths, and help them see the lesson in their setback. Now imagine speaking to yourself in the same way the next time you make a mistake or face failure. Replace "I can't believe I did that" with "this is hard, but I'm learning." Replace "I'm not good enough" with "I'm growing, and that's enough for today." This shift doesn't excuse mistakes. It creates space for growth without the weight of shame. Part of compassion is also recognizing your limits. You cannot do everything. You cannot always be strong. And that doesn't make you less valuable. It makes you human. The Buddha often reminded his followers that accepting our human limitations is part of wisdom. When you let go of the pressure to be endlessly capable, you make room for rest, healing, and clarity. Rest isn't laziness, it's maintenance for the mind and spirit. Creating mental rest means intentionally making space for activities that nourish you. It might be meditating, reading something that inspires you, sitting under a tree and watching the light change, or simply breathing deeply in silence. The key is to do it without guilt, as if you're giving your mind the same care you'd give to a tired friend. One of the most overlooked forms of self-compassion is gratitude toward yourself. Instead of constantly measuring how far you have to go, take time to acknowledge how far you've already come. Every challenge you've survived, every fear you've faced, every time you've kept going when it would have been easier to give up, that's proof of your resilience. Appreciating yourself doesn't make you arrogant. It makes you balanced. I once met a retired nurse who spent decades caring for others, but admitted she had no idea how to care for herself. It wasn't until her health declined that she learned to slow down, speak kindly to herself, and rest without apology. The moment I started treating myself as gently as my patients, she told me, was the moment my mind began to heal. Self-compassion is not self-indulgence. It's not ignoring your flaws or avoiding responsibility. It's giving yourself the same understanding, patience, and encouragement you wish the world would give you. When you cultivate this inner kindness, you'll find that anxiety softens, your heart steadies, and your capacity to love others deepens. Not because you're forcing it, but because you're no longer running on empty. So tonight, before you close your eyes, ask yourself, what is one kind thing I can do for myself tomorrow? It could be as small as taking a 5-minute walk in the sun, or as simple as speaking to yourself with gentleness. And as you make this a habit, you'll see it's impossible to truly be at peace with the world until you've learned to be at peace with yourself. In the end, peace is not something we stumble upon. It's something we cultivate moment by moment. Worry may knock at your door every day, but you have the power to decide whether it stays. Freedom isn't about fixing the entire world around you. It's about meeting life as it is, with a steady heart and a clear mind. No matter what storms your past has held, and no matter how uncertain tomorrow may seem, you can choose right now to breathe, to soften, and to let go of what no longer serves you. Imagine your life as a still lake at dawn. The world may move around you, but your reflection remains calm. This is the gift of living from the inside out. Happiness isn't hidden in some distant future. It's woven into the way you see and receive the life you have today. So, as you carry these lessons forward, ask yourself, what is one thing I can release today to make space for peace? Share it in the comments. I'd love to know your journey. And if these words have touched something in you, let this be the first step of many. Like this video, subscribe for more Buddhist wisdom, and join me in creating a life that is lighter, simpler, and more deeply alive. The choice is yours and the moment is now.